Welcome to the Savvy Way to Start Investing Today. If possible, please mute your phone unless you have a question. Then just unmute it and then ask your question really quickly. But thank you guys for logging on. Let's go ahead and just get this thing started. So before you start thinking about investing, I think you should really ask yourself, have you secured a solid emergency fund? Emergency fund is very important. Last thing you want is for an emergency to come up. You're investing your cash and you don't have money to handle that emergency. With investing, it's not always quick to get your money back. It can sometimes be a delay by a couple of days, depending on which company you invest through. So it's good to just have that money secure in its place, ready for when an emergency happens, and then go ahead and invest. It's up to you to decide how much is your safe zone before you invest. I recommend 1,000, but if you are comfortable with maybe per se like $25 per month going into investing and then a certain amount going into your savings account, I think that's also okay. But if an emergency happens, stop investing, handle the emergency, then pick that back up once you have got through that hard time. I always get the question, if somebody just joined us, can you please mute your phone?
I had to train 11 people today. I said, how the fuck am I train 11 people?
I always get the question, what should I be investing in? What kind of thing? And my number one response is invest in. Can somebody please mute their phone?
It was like 7 cars deep. That shit was so funny.
Let me see if I can figure out who that is.
So like, what area we in? This one was like, yeah, we're right here in the POC and Garden Valley area. Well, I swear.
Mike, mute your phone. That's goddamn. Mute your phone, Mike.
Early, they're sick. Sick.
Okay, I'm gonna just have to call him. I don't want to hear his background the whole time. Okay, so the number one question I always get asked is, what should I be investing in? What should I be investing in? And my number one response is invest in companies or brands that you love. Invest in brands that you are loyal to. To give an example for myself, one of the first stocks I ever invested in was Apple and Starbucks. I cannot see myself ever going back to another product other than the Apple phone. And Starbucks, at that time, I was drinking Starbucks probably 3 times a week. So I figured, why not earn reward points from shopping there, receive dividends from investing in it? Why not get the most I can out of being loyal to this brand? So when you think about different companies that you can invest in, make that your thought process. Think about the companies you shop at for yourself, your kids, family members, even companies that you honestly go to probably like once a week. And when I say these companies, you want to make sure these companies are public companies. It's a lot of private companies out there that have not gone public or probably honestly never will. So make sure there are a private large company and you can definitely invest in those. Let's kind of break down the steps to start investing. Number one is to write down your investment goal. An example of an investing goal is, like my goal was when I first started, was to try to get to the point where I was making $100 in dividends per month. Another example for someone maybe closer to retirement can be to fully fund my retirement in 10 years. No matter what your goal is, you want to make sure you have a goal set to make sure you're actually working towards that. And once you establish your goal, make sure you automate your investing. I say automate your expenses, your bills, everything. Anything you can kind of automate, go ahead. I'm very forgetful, and it's just best if I automate every aspect of my life that I can. Step number two is to learn the different types of investments. Different types of investments are stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and annuity. A 401k is an investment. And there are so many more. I can't even begin to discuss them all in this quick little webinar, but I do want to focus on stocks, bonds, and mutual funds today and tell you how you can start investing in those things today. Step number three is to select a broker. There are so many different brokers out there, and to name a couple, Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, E-Trade. And the thing with a broker is you want to find out their fees. That's the first thing you want to find out about a broker. The fees can vary, they can range, they can get up there. And so Ameritrade, their fee is $6.95 per transaction. And what the per transaction mean or per trade means, it means that every time you buy or sell, they charge you $6.95. But the good thing about them is they have great investing tools, and they have a $0 minimum, meaning that if you have $1 or $5, you can go trade with them today. Of course, once you verify your personal information and everything, that's when you can get started. Did anybody have a question? Okay, I'll keep going. Next up is Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab cost per transaction is $4.95, but they have a minimum of $1,000. E-Trade, they have a cost of $6.95 with a minimum of $500. I would recommend someone select these brokers if they are a seasoned investor and if they have the minimum requirement. If you don't have the minimum, there's other great options that you can use to get started investing a day, and you don't have to stress about not going with like one of these top big brokers. And let's talk about some of these other options. So the options that I love these days, which are apps. Apps just came about honestly within the last couple years. The first one I want to talk about is Acorn. Acorn charges you $1.25 per month. And honestly, that's not that bad because they also offer you a good resources. And when you pay, and when you're paying for commission or paying these brokers to invest, you want to make sure you're like honestly getting something out of it. You don't want to be paying them a monthly fee and getting nothing from them. And when I mean getting something out of it, you want to be able to get resources to invest. You want to be able to get investing tools. You want to get access to the stock market current prices. You even want to be able to see if you can get advice from actual investment advisors. Different companies have different policies. So you have the option of going with the Acorn app, Stash app. Stash app, I like their motto. And what they do is actually you decide how much you want to stash away every month. So if you want to invest $25 each month, they will take, say you go get a coffee for $1.50. They will take the extra 50 cents and stash it away and invest it. And the way Stash invests your money is in different exchange traded funds. An example of that is like the Vanguard S&P 500. And when you see S&P 500s, those are the largest publicly traded American companies. So that fund is made up of those companies. You're investing in those funds. Okay. Another great one is my favorite, which is Robinhood. Robinhood is free. Only time you'll pay with Robinhood is if you upgrade to Robinhood Gold. Upgrading to Robinhood Gold is definitely not necessary. I'm not in Robinhood. I just go with the free option to invest each month. And it's free because no matter if you buy or sell stock, they never charge you a commission. And that's the part I love. So as I make dividend each month, I'm receiving all of my dividends. Robinhood is not taking a percentage of it at all, like the other companies. Like if I would have sold one of my Apple stock, Charles Schwab would have charged me $4.95 on that sale. Or E-Trade would have charged me $6.95, as opposed to Robinhood, they don't charge me anything. But the thing is with Robinhood, you have to have an idea of the kind of companies you want to invest in. If you don't have an idea of the company, it can still be a great option because you can come up with a list. You can use investment tools to come up with a list of companies. But Stash is a great option to someone who kind of just want to invest money in different funds, don't really want to deal with the analyzing or don't want to have to deal with the I received some dividend, let me reinvest my dividend into other stock. Stash kind of does it all automatically for you. All great options, all can honestly really build wealth, but you have to think about the kind of person you are. Do you want to take the more laid back approach to investing, which is fine. Don't feel bad for it. I have an account with Fidelity. I have a 529 plan for Skylar's college fund. I honestly do not do anything. I don't pick anything. All I did was sign up, give them my personal information. I selected my risk level, which I told them I believe was medium. And based on the risk that I selected, they invest in things like that. And that's kind of the same mindset with Acorn and Stash. With Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, E-Trade, Fidelity, you would also sign up online with your personal information and then tell them your risk, the risk that you're willing to take. It ranges from high, medium, to low. I would recommend at this level I always pick high because I like to be aggressive with my investing. I feel like I invest not too much where if I lost it, I would be upset. But as you're getting started, I recommend maybe going low and then increasing as you grow your knowledge and your understanding about investing. Another cool thing that I'm just learning more information about is called RoboAdvisor. RoboAdvisor is completely online. So like Robinhood is actually not online at all. It's only on the app. RoboAdvisors are 100% online. You decide your amount you want to invest each month, and they use computer arithmetic to invest your cash. And like I said, with the other brokers, you would sign up with your personal information, decide how much you want to invest each month, and then tell them your risk tolerance. Everything, all these companies want to know how risky you want to be. You could play it safe, you can get aggressive. They want to know, depending on how much risk you want to tolerate, that's going to decide how they invest your money. I always say, like I said, start off low and then get aggressive. But I will say, if you are close to retirement, you might want to get aggressive with a solid company. And with the RoboAdvisor, everything is automated. Portfolio management, everything. You really don't talk to anybody. It's no like, you can't go down the street and check them out like you can with Fidelity or Charles Schwab. But it's cost savings that's involved with robo-advising. That's why they're so great, because you can save a lot of money and still have access to different companies' resources. And some of the best robo-advisor companies are Wealthfront, which they charge a 0.25% management fee, but you have to have a $500 minimum account. Betterment is actually one that I'm just learning about, but all good things I have heard about them. They're actually a great robo-advisor, online broker, and you have the option to talk to someone in person with Betterment. But just know, the more help you need from an actual human, the higher the fees are. The more you want to automate, allow the computer to do it based on your level of risk, that's when fees are a little lower. Charles Schwab also have a robo-advisor account. Good thing about it, it's only, it doesn't have any management fees, but you have to have a minimum of $5,000, which kind of sucks. Next, you want to make sure you are learning about different investment strategies. I have two here that I use personally, and you can definitely go online and read up on other ones, but I feel like these two are great to kind of get you started. So number one is fundamental analysis, where you analyze an investment based on their performance and their management team. For example, Chipotle. If I had to analyze that based on just research, the news that was out about it at the beginning of the year, I would personally say Chipotle wasn't a strong stock for me to invest in. Maybe through a fund where I'm investing maybe a little bit, a small percentage into Chipotle, but I'm not going to go out and buy $500 worth of shares in Chipotle, because based on analysis, they are not performing that well with the whole E. coli breakout. Even though I still eat there, I'm still not going to invest in it. I don't eat there often, but I will go a couple times a week. But for me to invest in it, I need to invest in a strong company that's going to give me dividends once a month. And if not once a month, it needs to be once a quarter. And that brings me to my next investment strategy that I use, which is dividend investing. So I want to buy stock in companies that have a strong earning and dividend history. How I find that out, honestly, is going on Google. I will Google what is the dividend history of Foot Locker. and they will actually let me know. Foot Locker invest probably quarterly, and they would tell me probably over the last 5 years what was the actual dividend payouts of Foot Locker. And with stock and with these companies, it's normally consistent. So if for the last 5 years they have been paying dividend each quarter and a good amount, or the amount that you feel like is appropriate, that's probably a safe company to invest in. So make sure you analyzing it based on their performance in the news, which is fundamental analysis, and look at their management team. See if their management team is doing anything shady. See if their management team is constantly in the news for maybe stealing or just anything. If their management team is not solid, don't invest in them. It's too many great companies out there to even deal with one that have a shady management team. Another thing I love to look at is if I find out like online, like I can go on like Yahoo Finance. If I'm reading about a company and it states something about like, I don't know, Warren Buffett was investing in a company and he sold out of it. Of course, I'm about to get out of it. Or if it say that company's CEO sold some of their shares. Yep, he works for them. He's a part of their board. He's letting me know something, and he's letting me know that I probably should get out of that company too. So you want to make sure you're analyzing, use the internet to your advantage. And I'm also going to talk about some other great tools that you can use to analyze different stocks and funds. So step number 5 is to build a portfolio. My best advice is to keep it simple, start small, and just make sure you're exploring different investment options. What's best for me might not be what's best for, per se, like my mom. She's a little closer to retiring. She needs to be a little more aggressive. They say like millennials or younger individuals should be stock heavy. We have time is on our side. We can go with the up and down of the stock market, as opposed to someone a little older. They need to kind of play it safe with their investing. Maybe they'll invest 30% in stock and 70% in bonds. Bonds are naturally a safer, less riskier type of investment. So as you're closer to retirement, go the safe route, because you're going to need that money a little sooner. You don't have time for the fluctuation of the stock market. So millennials, make sure you are looking into different stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, anything that can get you kind of being a little more riskier, because we have time to kind of fluctuate with the market and earn a great return on our investments. And like I said before, make sure you automate your investments. Just like you would do with your bills, you want to set up a comfortable amount for you to invest each month. And it's up to you to decide. I started out on Robinhood with just $50. I told myself I was going to play around with it, get into some companies that I loved, and just see how it goes. And that's exactly what I did. And I just kept adding money from there. I think I added the 50. Then I'm like, okay, cool. A couple months later, I got a dividend. It was very small, but I was excited. It was higher than if I had kept that money in my savings account, and I would have earned like 1% on that money. So I was excited to get my first dividend payment. It empowered me or encouraged me to really keep on investing. So I took the $50. Then I think I did like my next pay $100. And I just kept building on top of that to get a steady dividend payment coming in each month. And another thing I want to let you know is that you do not have to be an expert to invest. investing is all about just learning and growing. You can join investment clubs. You can talk to a friend, me, about different things I'm invested in. Lean on different people. If you have a spouse, if they're investing, see what they're invested in. See what's doing well. Invest in those same assets. This is not like exclusive to only one person. There are millions of people out there investing. So you need to make sure you're getting some of this money too and start saving for your future. Let's see, you don't have to be an expert, but you do have to be willing and ready to take risks. That's very important because I don't want to give you the illusion that it's not risk involved, because it absolutely is risk. But it's ways that you can be smart about the risk that you endure. Let's see. Okay, so number 6, the last step, which is stick to your investment strategies and adjust as needed. And what that means is develop a process that you use to analyze different investments. And that's individual stocks, mutual funds, bonds. Just decide how you're going to evaluate the investment and stick to it. Give it some time. Don't just invest in 1 month. Oh my God, they didn't pay me out a dividend, and move on to something else. No, investing is for the long term. Don't invest no money that you need back within the next 3 years. That's my rule. If you need it back within 3 years, don't even do it. Honestly, you're just not ready. And that's okay. Give yourself the time to just learn, get more comfortable about investing. Give yourself time to learn how to read different charts. Give yourself time to see how different charts are flowing, different investments are flowing. And then go into it when you are ready to honestly give up this money, because you just got to give up money in order to make money. And just know this money is for a purpose. It's to invest in your future. And this is one very important slide for me. And this is the investing tools. So, okay, Shira, I decided that, let me look at some actual investments that I have on my Robinhood account. Let's see. Okay, Shira, I just bought stock in one of these, a company called Energy Transfer Equity. Or I want to buy stock in Energy Transfer Equity, but honestly, I just do not know how strong this company is. I recommend these tools. If you're with a broker that you are paying commission to, they have tools available for you online. But if you go with options like maybe Acorn or Stash or Robinhood, you want to look at some free options, because your investment, you're just not paying that much for these big companies to provide you tools. So you got to go out and find your own tools. And one way to do this is to use the 3 that I have listed here. First up is Yahoo Finance. Yahoo Finance provides you up-to-date stock pricing. It also is a great place to find the dividend history. You can research different companies. You can find out stories and different news about companies and their current board of directors. Yahoo Finance is a great place to see, like BP, when they had the whole oil spill. That was a great place to find different news articles. And the same as just Googling it. Google BP, see what comes up. Use your Robinhood app. Stroll down different companies, click on different things, read actual articles, do reviews, and see how people are really feeling about the company. If you're reading nothing but great things, you're reading about like, I don't know, marijuana stock, marijuana stock has been buzzing the last couple months to a year. And different companies are just putting a lot of money into the marijuana industry. So for me, I'm like, okay, I want to get a piece of this. So I went out and bought some marijuana stock. And I'm actually receiving a pretty decent dividend on them each quarter too. But I have to be honest, I did play it safe because I wasn't sure how many states was going to legalize it. But that's a part of analyzing it. I don't know. It was nothing online to tell me like how quickly other states were going to legalize it. So I had to play it safe with that investment. Morningstar is one that allows you to analyze mutual funds. It tells you what's a great one to invest in. It'll tell you the cost of mutual funds and what kind of risks you're facing with investing in a certain type of mutual funds. Personal capital, it's like Mint. If you guys have heard me talk about Mint before, it's just like Mint. It evaluates your expenses and try to get to you to the point that you're lowering your expenses. And it also analyzes investments based on benchmarks. And benchmark meaning like a year ago, how is this investment doing? Is this investing growing? Or is this investment doing terrible compared to last year? That's the great tool that per capita is providing you. Another great tool that I forgot to list here is Google. Before I go anywhere, if I need to know anything, if I have any questions, or even need to answer a question, I go directly to Google if I am not sure. If you want to know the stock price of Fitbit stock, go right to Google. If you don't have your investment app or your investment online setup, that's going to let you know, go right to Google. It will give you the up-to-date pricing of a stock. So just to kind of sum up everything and kind of help you to determine what investment broker or what investment strategy is right for you, I want you to make sure you are thinking about what you need. What kind of services do you need? Do you need an actual person that's up the street or maybe 15 minutes away from your home? If so, you want to go with a local broker. If you don't need someone that's up the street from you and you're okay with getting on online, if you're okay with getting online or joining an app, consider one of the other great options like Stash, that kind of takes a little bit out of your account each month, or Acorn, that also does the same. Or consider Robinhood, where you determine how much you want to invest. You add the money to Robinhood and then you invest.